One of the areas of coaching that I think that everyone should experience if they're part of a team is team coaching. So the dynamics of a team are always really interesting, and we'll see low conflict teams, we'll see teams that appear to be working on the outside, but there's lots of stuff that is said unsaid, and we'll see teams that seem to be very high conflict but actually get things done. And team coaching is such a useful way of helping people to see different perspectives, helping people to build trust and therefore perform more effectively. And we know that team coaching is one of the things that AI cannot really go near at the moment, because there's something about being in the room. There's something about that observation. And we are one of the providers at Optimus that do the accredited certification with the ICF. So if you want to become a team coach, you can check that out too. So one of the approaches that I love when we're thinking about teams is this idea of radical candor. So it's great to have positive feedback. I don't think I've ever worked with anyone who doesn't like to have some positive feedback, especially if it is tied to elements of their performance. So rather than just saying, oh, you're doing great, this was really good because. So positive, specific feedback. We know for some people, it's really energizing to have that in public. We know for some people, it's really energizing to have that in private. But we know that when we create cultures and teams where positive feedback is encouraged, it increases engagement. We also know that increases performance. It tends to make people feel happier, and happier team members perform more effectively. And we also know that, it's thinking about that diet. Okay, so actually, when it's only positive, we can get into those really low conflict teams where things are said, left unsaid, and that can breed resentment. I'm sure that you all know of places where people have been telling you, oh, everything's great, but you know there's something else going on. Usually that isn't communicated, maybe because there's a lack of trust, or sometimes because you've done such a good job on the positive, they don't want to bring any stress. They're thinking, oh, well, I don't want to kind of rock the boat because everyone else is so positive. And if I say this, what does that mean? And it's this idea of radical candor, and I absolutely love it. It's about actually being honest in our feedback. So the positive and the less good, and having those conversations. And I was reminded of this recently of a team member. We were having a conversation, and the conversation was about boundaries. I spoke about what I needed and asked them what they needed, and we talked about a particular situation and how we could make it better. Now, within that situation, there wasn't any you did this. It was like, when this happened, this is my response. Therefore, this is what I will do. What will be best for you? And because we were able to have that open conversation, we were able to acknowledge the other person's viewpoint. We were able to recognize that. We were able to see how our behavior had impacted them. And we were able to come to a way forward. Because we were being honest, we were being open. We were saying, this is how that made me feel. That's how it made you feel. Where's our way forward? And I think that when we're able to have those discussions, we don't have those times where we can feel that simmering resentment, where we can be in a team meeting and know that somebody is not happy, even though they do not tell us and they keep telling us that they are. And for me, it's what makes teams great. When you are thinking about your team, I'd like you to reflect, especially if you're leading that team, how do I welcome conflict? How do I welcome challenge? And within that, what do I really feel that could be different? How can I open up dialogue? How can I make it safe for people to challenge me and people to challenge each other? And that to not mean something about their identity, that to actually lead to more trust, better ways of working together. Because we can all get it wrong. Yeah, we can all sometimes have people give us feedback and we can react. Been there too. We can all sometimes avoid feedback because we're worried about a reaction, and that therefore we avoid any kind of conflict. When you're thinking about the way that you want a team to operate, think about what can you do And maybe where are those spaces that you need more support? And this for me is why team coaching makes such a difference. Because again, when you're in it, if you're the leader, or even if you're a member of a team, it's really easy to see it just from your perspective. And hopefully as a leader, you can see other people's perspectives, but you're going to have blind spots. Maybe it's a team that you've built and nurtured. Maybe you've got really strong personal connections with people, and therefore you may not see everything. So by having somebody come in and actually look objectively through different lenses, through different perspectives, you will be able to see things that you didn't see before. You'll be able to spot opportunities, and that will help strengthen and build the team. If we do not share what we're feeling, then we often burn down bridges. And that means that we don't have that relationships and relatedness. And that means that teams don't work as effectively. And I think it's very easy to say, oh, well, I can't say that. And it's very easy to resent people if we don't have a voice. So remembering that wherever you are in a team, your voice is important, and actually thinking about how you approach conversations can make a huge difference in how happy you are and how much you flourish at work.